Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig through loads of information to pull out the really key insights for you nice and efficiently.
Yeah, kind of like your cheat sheet to getting up to speed without reading everything yourself.
Exactly. And today, we're doing a deep dive into something I think is, well, critical for pretty much everyone. Effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, learning things, but actually getting stuff done well. And we're looking at it through a particular lens today.
Yep.
We're thinking about how principles from, let's say, classic productivity books, not specifically education books, can actually be huge for teachers,
Okay.
navigating that daily whirlwind.
Oh, definitely. We've been looking at some, foundational work that might not mention lesson plans, but offers these really solid frameworks for juggling like a million different tasks.
Right. So our mission today is kind of translating those big ideas into strategies that you, if you're a teacher listening, can actually use, like tomorrow, to handle all those unique demands.
That's the plan. Because teaching involves so many moving parts.
Totally. So yeah, well, we won't be like listing book titles constantly. The core ideas we're pulling from are all about getting things done, managing workflow, feeling, in control.
Which is often half the battle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you're ever feeling like you're drowning in grading or planning or parent emails, basically battling that mental clutter, this dive is for you. We're hoping for some real aha moments.
And some stuff you can actually do.
Let's jump in. What really hits you first about this whole approach to getting things done?
Well, it's practicality, honestly. It feels very grounded, like it's based on how we actually think and work, but it gives you these simple step-by-step ways to manage it all.
Not just theory, then.
Not at all. And the promise is, you can see results pretty quickly. Even people who are normally a bit skeptical about, business productivity stuff tend to find value.
Yeah, I get that sense, too. It feels like it comes from someone, David Allen, who spent ages actually doing this with people, coaching, consulting.
Right, like it's been battle-tested in the real world, not just cooked up in an ivory tower.
And the way people talk about it. It's not just, I organize my emails better. It's like, I feel more in control, less stressed, happier. Which, for teachers, that feeling of control, that's gold.
It's huge. And the core problem it identifies resonates so much, I think. That feeling of being swamped by projects that don't have clear edges, and just this constant flood of information, emails, ideas, requests.
The teacher inbox nightmare.
Exactly. And the material even touches on how modern professionals and teachers fit this perfectly, are kind of expected to be these free agents, always growing, always adapting, taking on new initiatives.
That is teaching today, isn't it? You're not just teaching your subject. You're differentiating, communicating constantly, learning new tech, sponsoring clubs. It's immense.
It really is. And this is where having maybe less than effective personal organization habits can really start to hurt.
How so?
Well, the idea is that if your system feels chaotic, your brain kind of subconsciously resists even starting those big important tasks, like planning a new unit or tackling that huge pile of essays.
Because it anticipates the overwhelm.
Precisely. So you procrastinate, get distracted by easier things, and the stress just builds. It's a cycle. Your mind actively avoids the mess it senses.
That rings so true. If I see a mountain of grading and I don't have a clear first step, I am definitely finding something else to do, like reorganizing pencils.
We've all been there. And this brings us to a really key concept. These things called open loops, or maybe think of them as incompletes.
Okay.
It's basically anything pulling at your attention that isn't resolved.
Right.
Anything you feel you should do or need to remember.
Grade history papers, call Mrs. Davison, research that science fair idea. Don't forget the faculty meeting agenda item.
All of those, they're all open loops. It's like having, as you said, a browser with 50 tabs open in your head, all draining your mental energy.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So why do they stick around? Why can't we just, forget them until we need them?
Well, the material points to three main reasons why stuff stays on your mind. One, you haven't decided exactly what outcome you want. Two, you haven't decided the very next physical action you need to take.
Physical action.
Yeah, like what's the actual doing step? And three, you don't have a reminder of the outcome and the action stored in a place you trust you'll look at again.
So any of those are missing, my brain keeps juggling it.
Exactly. It keeps running the loop, trying not to drop the ball, which is exhausting and inefficient.
So when teachers say, I just don't have enough time, maybe that's not always the real issue.
That's a core argument here. Often, it's not a sheer lack of minutes, but a lack of clarity, lack of definition about what done looks like for a project, and what the absolute next step is.
You can have a whole planning period, but if Plan Mass Unit is just sitting there undefined,
You might just stare at it, feel overwhelmed, and end up checking email instead, because checking email feels more defined, right?
totally. Okay, this is making a lot of sense conceptually, but where on earth does a teacher even start to fix this? It feels like another huge project in itself.
Right, and that's why the approach is bottom-up. Forget trying to define your grand 5-year teaching vision first. Start with the stuff that's right in front of you now. The emails in your inbox, the papers on your desk, the notes scribbled on random papers. Get a handle on the ground floor first.
Manage the immediate chaos before worrying about the bigger picture.
Exactly. By getting control of the small, current stuff, you build clarity and confidence to tackle the bigger commitments.
And what's the absolute biggest shift needed to make that happen?
Get
It?
all out,
Yeah,
head.
simple as that.
Fundamentally, yes. Your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. Especially not for holding reminders about dozens of tasks. You need trusted external tools for that.
Okay, let's dive into that, getting it all out. How does that work for a teacher juggling classes, readings, prep, everything?
This is where we get into the 5 phases of workflow management. Collect, process, organize, review, and do.
Okay, phase 1, collect.
Right. This means capturing everything that has your attention. Every task, idea, promise, appointment, note to self, anything. Get it into what are called collection buckets or in trays.
So what counts as a bucket for a teacher? My physical inbox on the desk.
Definitely. Your school email inbox, a notes app on your phone or computer, a dedicated section in a notebook, maybe even a voice recorder app if that works for you.
So multiple places, potentially.
Yeah, but ideally as few as possible. The key is that anything not captured in one of these trusted spots is still bouncing around in your head,
Yeah.
causing that noise and stress. Even if you just think, oh, I need more whiteboard markers, if you don't capture that thought somewhere reliable, it's an open loop.
So step 1 is just a massive brain dump into these holding places. Physical, digital, whatever works.
Got it in one. Then comes phase 2, process. This isn't about doing the tasks yet. It's about making decisions about the tasks. You go through your collection buckets, your inbox, your notebook, one item at a time.
One at a time. Not skipping around.
One at a time. Top item first. And for each item, you ask, what is this? Is it actionable?
Okay, what if it is actionable?
Then you ask, what's the very next action? And crucially, can I do it in 2 minutes or less?
Ah, the famous 2-minute rule.
That's the one. If the answer is yes, if you can reply to that quick email, sign that form, make that short call right then and there, just do it, get it done and out of the way.
That sounds incredibly efficient for clearing out small stuff.
It's amazing how much clutter that eliminates. Now, if it takes longer than 2 minutes, you have 2 choices. You either delegate it to someone else, if possible.
Like asking a teaching assistant to make copies.
Exactly. Or you defer it, meaning you decide you'll do it later and you put a reminder into your organizational system.
Okay. And what if the item isn't actionable? Like, it's just information I need to keep.
Then you either trash it if you don't need it, file it for reference if you might need it later, or maybe put it on a someday maybe list if it's an idea for the future but not a commitment right now.
Like ideas for next year's curricula.
Perfect example. So processing is about emptying those collection buckets by making a decision about every single item. Do it, delegate it, defer it, file it, trash it, or put it on hold.
And you have to define that next physical action for things you defer.
Absolutely critical. You can't just put plan field trip on a list. What's the next physical thing you need to do? Is it draft email to museum education department? Is it search online for bus quotes?
So plan unit becomes outline learning objectives for chapter 1.
Or even find the curriculum guide for the unit on my shelf, whatever the very next visible action is. That clarity is key.
Okay, so collect, then process. Emptying the buckets, defining next actions. What's phase 3?
Organize. Now that you've processed everything and decided what needs doing later, you need to organize those reminders and commitments in a way that makes sense.
This is where the lists come in.
This is where the lists come in. First, you need a projects list. A project is defined as any outcome you want to achieve that requires more than one action step.
Okay, so for a teacher, prepare end-of-term report cards is a project. Organize science fair is a project. Develop new reading intervention group is a project.
Exactly. Anything that takes multiple steps. Just having this list is powerful. It's your inventory of commitments. You see everything you're juggling.
I can imagine that being both scary and clarifying.
Definitely clarifying. Then, for the individual next actions that you've deferred, the ones taking more than 2 minutes, you organize them primarily by context.
Context, meaning like where I am or what tool I need.
Precisely. Common contexts are things like at computer for tasks needing your computer, at phone for calls you need to make, at home for things you have to do there, at school desk, maybe at classroom or at errands.
So if I have 10 minutes free at my school desk, I can just look at my at school desk list and pick something.
That's exactly the idea. It allows you to use pockets of time effectively because you're only looking at actions you can do right then and there.
That makes so much sense. Instead of scrolling through a giant list of things I can't possibly do while sitting in the staff room.
Right. You also might have agendas lists. These are for items you need to discuss with specific people or in specific meetings, like at meeting with principal or at talk to Sarah student or at parent conference Jones.
Ah, so you gather all the points for that specific interaction.
Yes. Then you might have a waiting for list. This tracks things you've delegated and are waiting to get back from someone else.
Like waiting for the librarian to send that book list.
Exactly. And maybe a read review list for documents or articles you need to look over when you have focus time.
What about email? Does it just stay in the inbox if it's a reminder?
You can leave emails that represent a next action in your inbox, maybe flagged or marked unread if that works for you. But the danger is the inbox becomes cluttered again. Often it's better to pull the action out and put it on the appropriate context list than archive the email.
Okay. And all the paperwork and digital files related to projects, lesson plans, handouts, research.
That's your reference system. You need easily accessible folders, physical or digital, organized so you can find project support materials quickly when you need them. Filing needs to be easy and fast
To avoid the dreaded piles.
to avoid the piles. So that's collect, process, organize. Phase 4 is review.
Okay, what does review involve?
This is crucial. It's where you step back and look at the whole system to keep it current and functional. The most important review is the weekly review.
Doing it every week.
Ideally, yes. Once a week, you block out maybe an hour or so, and you look at everything. Your calendar, your projects list, your next actions list, your waiting for list. You clean things up, update your projects, brainstorm next steps, ensure everything is captured.
It's like maintenance for your brain and your system.
Exactly. Think of it as looking at your work from the 10,000-foot level. It gives you perspective, ensures nothing is falling through the cracks, and massively increases your confidence in what you choose to do during the week. It's about renegotiating agreements with yourself weekly, not just when things blow up.
That sounds incredibly powerful for preventing that end-of-term panic.
It really is. And finally, phase 5 is do.
Actually doing the work.
Right. The whole point of the first 4 phases is to make choosing what to do much clearer and more intuitive. You've collected everything, processed it, organized it, reviewed it. Now, when you have a moment to work, you can trust your system and make a good choice about the best thing to do right now.
So the system supports better decision-making in the moment.
Precisely. You're moving from being reactive to being intentionally engaged with your commitments. The material mentions some other models for evaluating work, but this 5-phase workflow is the absolute core.
Got it. Now, you mentioned projects earlier. This approach has a specific way of tackling those bigger things too, doesn't it? Beyond just listing them.
Yes, it does. It calls it the natural planning model. It suggests there are 5 stages we naturally go through when we approach any project effectively.
Okay, what are they? Let's think about how a teacher might use this, say, for planning a big end-of-year school event.
Great example. Stage 1 is defining purpose and principles. Why are we doing this event? What's the ultimate goal? Is it fundraising? Community building? Celebrating student achievement? Getting crystal clear on the why?
And why provides focus, right?
Absolutely. It guides decisions. And principles are the boundaries. Like, we will ensure the event is accessible to all families, or student involvement in planning is key. Setting those non-negotiables up front.
So purpose is the why, principles are the how we operate. What's next?
Stage 2 is outcome visioning. What does wild success look like for this event? Paint a vivid picture. Imagine the end result. Engaged students, happy parents, smooth logistics, achieving the fundraising goal.
Suspend the yeah, but thinking for a second.
Exactly. Just envision the ideal. This builds energy and often sparks creative ideas about how to get there.
Okay, so visioning success. Then what?
Stage 3 is brainstorming. Now that you know the why and the what, you brainstorm the how, get all the ideas out there, anything related to the event. Activities, logistics, volunteers, publicity, food, no filtering yet.
Just a big brain dump onto paper or a whiteboard.
Yes, externalizing it helps generate more ideas. Mind maps are great here.
Okay, brainstormed all the ideas.
Yeah.
Now it's chaos.
Which leads perfectly to stage 4, organizing. You look at all those brainstormed ideas and start grouping them. You identify the major components: publicity, venue setup, activities, budget, volunteers. You sort the ideas into these components. This naturally starts to form your project plan.
The structure emerges from the brainstorm.
Exactly. And stage 5, inevitably, is identifying next actions. For each of those organized components, what's the very next physical step needed to move it forward? Who needs to call the venue? What's the next step for designing the flyer?
So even for big projects, it always comes back to that single next step.
Always. That's what gets the ball rolling and keeps it moving.
Now, having these systems, it's not just mental, is it? The physical setup matters too, especially for teachers who might work in multiple locations.
Oh, hugely. The material stresses having a functional, focused workspace. Your cockpit of control, both at school, probably your desk, and maybe at home if you do work there. A place where you have your tools.
Their command center.
Right. And it also mentions an office in transit, your bag, your briefcase. Having essential tools, maybe a notebook, pens, your planner, maybe a tablet so you can capture ideas or even do small tasks during unexpected downtime.
Like during lunch duty or waiting for a meeting.
Exactly. But a key thing is having your own dedicated space, especially at school if possible. Sharing a desk or constantly having to set up and pack away creates resistance to using your system.
I can see that. It needs to be easy.
Easy is key. And the tools themselves don't need to be fancy or expensive. Paper planner, digital app, simple folders, whatever works for you and feels good to use. Consistency is more important than complexity.
Find what clicks and stick with it.
Right. And a crucial part of that physical digital setup is a simple, easy-to-use filing system for reference material. Lesson plans, articles, student information, kept securely, obviously. Filing needs to be almost effortless, so you actually do it instead of letting papers pile up.
The file, don't pile mantra.
You got it. Make it take less than a minute to file something, and you'll actually do it.
So we've covered the system, the planning, the setup. Let's revisit some core ideas. That regular processing getting in to empty, how vital is that day-to-day for a teacher?
It's foundational. If you don't regularly process your collection buckets, they overflow, the system breaks down, and you're back to feeling overwhelmed. It's the habit that keeps the mental clutter at bay.
And identifying projects during that processing.
Crucial for seeing the bigger picture beyond just the next actions. And organizing those actions by context, at classroom, at prep period, at home, that's what makes the system usable in the moment.
And the weekly review ties it all together.
It's the quality control, the strategic pause that ensures the system serves you, rather than you becoming a slave to outdated lists. It's non-negotiable for making this work long-term.
Okay, so the system set up, I'm reviewing weekly. Now it's Tuesday morning, second period prep. How do I choose what to actually work on for my lists?
This is where the 4 criteria model for choosing actions comes in. It's a filter, applied in order.
Okay, criterion 1.
Context. Where are you right now? What tools do you have available? You only look at the lists relevant to your current context. If you're at your desk, you look at school desk or at computer lists.
Makes sense. Don't even look at the stuff I can't do right now.
Exactly. Filter number 1, criterion 2.
Oh, yes. Time.
Time available. How much time do you realistically have right now before your next commitment? Like the bell ringing. Got 5 minutes. Pick a 5-minute task. Got 30 minutes. Maybe tackle something bigger.
Match the task to the time slot. Got it. Criterion 3.
Energy available. How are you feeling? Fired up and focused. Or kind of drained after a tough class.
Oh, that's a big one for teachers. Energy levels are all over the place.
Right. So if you're low energy, maybe pick something from an at low energy context list you've made, filing, tidying, making a simple call. If you're high energy, tackle that complex planning task.
Having a low energy list is a brilliant idea. Still productive, but realistic.
It avoids that feeling of, I'm too tired to do anything, when there might be simple, useful things you can do. And the final criterion.
To be priority, right?
Priority, yes. After you've filtered by context, time, and energy, you'll likely have a smaller list of possible actions. From that list, you use your intuition and judgment to choose the most important or impactful thing to do next.
So priority comes last, after the practical filters narrow things down.
Exactly. It makes choosing much less overwhelming and more strategic.
The material also mentioned different levels of review, didn't it? Like altitudes.
Yeah, the 6 levels model. From runway, your current actions, up through projects, areas of responsibility, goals, vision, all the way to 50,000 plus feet, life purpose. It's useful for perspective, but the advice is that for practical day-to-day control and balance, mastering the runway, next actions, and the 10,000-foot level projects via the weekly review is where you get the most bang for your buck.
Get the ground level sorted first.
Pretty much. And for digging into those projects, there's this idea of vertical thinking, really focusing deeply on planning out one project, which complements the horizontal control of managing all your day-to-day actions.
And what about tools for that deeper project planning? Any recommendations there relevant for teachers?
The emphasis is usually on simplicity. Basic tools like word processors for outlining, mind mapping software for brainstorming, they often work better than complex project management software that has a steep learning curve.
Keep it simple and usable.
Right. Don't let the tool become another overwhelming project.
Okay, let's shift slightly. That feeling of stress, overwhelm, maybe even guilt about not getting things done. Where does that come from in this model?
It often stems from what the material calls broken agreements with yourself.
Broken agreements.
Yeah. All those things you told yourself you would do, should do, need to do that are still undone. Every open loop is potentially a broken agreement that creates a little bit of psychic tension.
That makes sense. That nagging feeling.
Yeah.
So how do you fix it?
3 ways to deal with a commitment or agreement. 1, don't make it. Get better at saying no or not overcommitting.
Easier is said than done sometimes.
True. 2, complete the agreement. Do the task. Get it finished. And 3, renegotiate the agreement. This is key. Consciously decide not to do it or to do it differently or to do it later. Change the time of the agreement with yourself. Take it off the should-do list if it's no longer relevant or feasible.
So it's about consciously managing those commitments, not just letting them fester.
Exactly. Renegotiating is just as valid as completing. It resolves the open loop.
And underpinning all of this seems to be that idea of 100% collection again.
Absolutely. Getting everything out of your head reduces that pressure. Just the act of writing it down, capturing it, gives you a measure of control back. It acknowledges the commitment without requiring your brain to constantly remember it.
It externalizes the burden.
Perfectly put. And that simple, powerful question, what's the next action? That question is like the engine. It forces clarity. It makes projects unstuck.
It cuts through the vagueness.
It really does. There's an example used sometimes just thinking about cutting into a juicy lemon makes your mouth water. Your brain reacts physically even to a thought. Open loops, undefined tasks, they create a similar low-level stress response. Your mind anticipates the difficulty or ambiguity. Procrastination is often just the brain trying to avoid that unpleasant feeling associated with an unclear task.
Which is why vague items on a to-do list are so paralyzing. Meeting with grade level team, what does that even mean I need to do next?
Exactly. It's undefined. Doesn't mean draft an agenda, book a room, send an email poll for times. Until you define that next action, the item just sits there, radiating vague stress.
So clarity on the front end is key.
That's the bottom line for productivity and knowledge work, which absolutely includes teaching. Clarify the action first, then execution becomes much smoother. Be operationally responsive by defining things proactively.
Wow. Okay, this has been a seriously deep dive. Let's try and boil it down for our listeners, especially the teachers tuning in. What are the absolute core takeaways?
I think it boils down to this. Capture everything that has your attention. Process it systematically, decide what it is and what needs doing. Organize the actions and projects in a way you trust, often by context. Review it all regularly, especially weekly, and then use that clarity to make better choices about what you do.
And the benefit for a teacher? Less mental clutter, right? More focus.
Definitely. A greater sense of control over the chaos, less stress from trying to remember everything, more energy freed up because your brain isn't constantly juggling open loops, which hopefully means more energy for the actual teaching and connecting with students.
It sounds like it could genuinely lead to a more sustainable and maybe even more enjoyable teaching experience.
I really believe it can. By managing the stuff more effectively, you create space for the substance.
Okay, so a final thought for everyone listening, especially our teachers. Think about one area, just one, where you feel most overwhelmed right now. Maybe it's grading, maybe it's planning that upcoming unit, maybe parent communication. Identify one specific open loop within that area. One thing that keeps nagging at you. Just write it down. Now, ask yourself, what is the very next physical action I could take to move that forward? Just one tiny step.
It could be as small as find the phone number or open the document.
Exactly. Just try identifying that single next action. See how it shifts your feeling about the task. Give that principle a little test run.
Embracing these methods, even starting small, can really build momentum towards feeling more focused, more productive, and maybe finding a bit more breathing room in a demanding job. And if this resonated, David Allen's Getting Things Done is definitely worth exploring further.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into effectiveness. We really hope you found some practical, actionable insights for your vital work. Until next time.